Imagine, you're standing in line at a grocery store. Your mother quietly pulls out food stamps, hoping no one notices. You feel embarrassed, not because of her, but because you know life shouldn't be this hard. Now fast forward. One day that same boy who once relied on food stamps sells his app to Facebook for $19 billion. That boy's name? Jan Koum, the co-founder of WhatsApp, and this is his story. Jan Koum was born in a small village outside Kiev, Ukraine, in 1976. Life wasn't easy. His father was a construction worker, and his mother was a housewife. Their home had no hot water, no reliable electricity, and the political climate was full of tension. Growing up, Jan learned early about scarcity. He knew what it meant to live without basic comforts. His family struggled financially, and the Cold War-era environment made things even harder. But perhaps the most difficult part wasn't poverty. It was the constant fear. His family was Jewish, and in Soviet Ukraine that meant discrimination. Opportunities were limited, and dreams often felt crushed before they even began. Jan's mother wanted a better life for her son. So, when Jan was just 16, she made a bold decision. They would leave Ukraine and immigrate to the United States. The Koums landed in Mountain View, California, hoping for opportunity, but finding struggle instead. They arrived with almost nothing. His father couldn't join them due to health issues and remained in Ukraine. Jan, his mother, and grandmother were left to fend for themselves in a foreign land. They lived in a small, modest apartment provided by government assistance. His mother worked as a babysitter. Jan took small jobs cleaning floors at a grocery store to help out. They survived on food stamps, relying on welfare programs to get by. Every purchase at the store was a reminder of how little they had. But here's where Jan's story takes a turn. Instead of letting poverty define him, he decided to fight. At age 18, Jan discovered his true passion: computers. He taught himself by reading second-hand manuals from a local used bookstore. With no money for college courses or formal training, he learned programming the hard way through persistence, trial, and error. He'd spend hours, even nights, tinkering with code, exploring networks, and figuring out how systems worked. By the time he enrolled at San Jose State University, he was already far ahead of most of his peers. Technology wasn't just a skill for him. It was his escape, his way out of poverty. Jan's talent eventually got him noticed. In 1997, he applied for a job at Yahoo as an infrastructure engineer. He got the job, dropping out of college in the process. At Yahoo, he worked tirelessly, fixing servers, handling security issues, and learning the ins and outs of building large-scale systems. His manager was none other than Brian Acton, the man who would later become his co-founder. The two bonded instantly. They weren't the flashy Silicon Valley types. They were practical, hard-working engineers. They respect each other's grit. But despite the good job, life wasn't perfect. Jan's mother was diagnosed with cancer, and much of his salary went toward her treatment. Tragedy struck when she passed away in 2000. His father also passed away shortly after. By his mid-20s, Jan had lost both parents. Jan was now completely on his own. No family, just his skills and his determination. In 2007, after working nearly a decade at Yahoo, both Jan and Brian left the company, hoping to find new opportunities. They even applied for jobs at Facebook. Both were rejected. That rejection would sting, but it also set the stage for something extraordinary. In 2009, Jan bought his first iPhone. That device sparked an idea. He noticed how the App Store was exploding with possibilities. People wanted simple, easy-to-use apps that could make their lives better. Jan thought about one of the biggest problems he faced growing up: is communication. Back in Ukraine, long-distance calls were expensive and unreliable. Even in the US, staying in touch across borders wasn't easy, so he came up with an idea. An app that allowed people to send messages to each other instantly, across the globe, for free. No ads, no gimmicks, just simple private communication. He called it WhatsApp, short for "What's Up?" But it wasn't smooth sailing. The first version of WhatsApp kept crashing. Jan almost gave up. But Brian encouraged him to keep going. He even joined John as co-founder, investing his savings to help get the app off the ground. By late 2009, WhatsApp started to gain traction. People loved its simplicity. No flashy features, no complicated sign-ups. Just install, verify your number, and start messaging. Word spread like wildfire. WhatsApp became the go-to messaging app for millions. Jan and Brian had one rule: no ads, ever. They believed people deserved a private, clean, and secure way to communicate. That philosophy resonated with users around the world. By 2013, WhatsApp had 400 million active users with only 50 employees running the entire company. Then came 2014, Facebook. The very company that once rejected Jan and Brian came knocking. Mark Zuckerberg saw WhatsApp's massive potential and wanted it under Facebook's umbrella. The price? $19 billion is one of the largest tech acquisitions in history. John Koum, the immigrant kid who once survived on food stamps, signed the deal on the door of his old welfare office, paying tribute to the journey that had brought him there. It wasn't just about money. For Jan, it was validation, proof that no matter where you start, you can build something that changes the world. John Koum's story is more than just a tale of business success. It's a living testament to resilience, persistence, and the unshakable power of staying true to one's vision. His journey wasn't paved with privilege or luck. It was carved through hardship, loss, and the kind of obstacles that would break most people. Yet instead of breaking, Jan used every challenge as fuel to keep moving forward. Think about it. He grew up in poverty, in a small Ukrainian village where hot water and stable electricity weren't guaranteed. His family struggled for the basics of life, and yet even in those conditions, he dared to dream beyond the boundaries of his environment. That poverty didn't just shape his worldview, it gave him the hunger to create a better life. He also faced discrimination. As part of a Jewish family in Soviet Ukraine, doors of opportunity were slammed shut before he even reached them. He lived in a society where who you were could limit what you could become. Many would have accepted that reality and settled, but John refused. He saw discrimination not as a dead end, but as a signal that he needed to carve his own path. Then came tragedy. Jan lost both of his parents by the time he was in his mid-20s. Imagine that, losing the very people who gave you strength, who reminded you why you were working so hard. For most, such a loss would crush the will to keep going. But for John, it became another reason to push harder, to honor their sacrifices by refusing to quit. And even when he pursued his dream in Silicon Valley, he was met with rejection. In 2007, Facebook turned him down for a job. He could have walked away bitter, telling himself that he wasn't good enough. Instead, he turned that rejection into redirection. He built something so valuable, so impactful, that a few years later the same company came back, not to hire him, but to buy his creation for $19 billion. So, what does Jan's story teach us? It's simple but profound. Your past does not define your future. You are not the sum of your hardships. You are not the labels people put on you. You are not the rejections or the losses you've endured. Your struggles don't dictate your destiny. Your response to them does. Poverty can either crush you or sharpen your hunger. Discrimination can either limit you or ignite your determination. Loss can either break you or deepen your resolve. Rejection can either end your journey or redirect you to something greater. Jan Koum chose the latter in every case. That is the difference between those who stop and those who succeed. At its core, his journey is a reminder that success isn't about having the perfect start. It's about persistence, vision, and the courage to keep moving forward when the world tells you no. And maybe that's the most important lesson of all. You don't need the world's permission to succeed. You just need your own determination to never give up. So, what about you? What's your WhatsApp? What's that idea in your head that others might laugh at? But deep down, you know it could change lives. Remember, John Koum didn't have money, connections, or privilege. All he had was a belief in solving a real problem, and the grit to keep going when failure seemed certain. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below. If this story inspired you, Hit that subscribe button so you never miss more motivational journeys like this. And always remember, it doesn't matter where you start. It matters how much you're willing to fight for your dream. The world isn't waiting for someone else, it's waiting for you.